Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the best brawlers for every single modifier, coming with the brand new ranked season tomorrow, giving you guys all the best tips as well. And also there's a few game modes where the meta shifts as well with these modifiers, and it's not been announced yet, I don't believe, so you guys can get the best info here. So also make sure to subscribe if you're not already, because the best ranked content is here on the channel. I'll be releasing a full guide for ranked tomorrow as well, so as soon as the ranked season drops, you can just grind as much as possible. So without further ado, let's jump into the modifiers then. So the three modifiers that we'll be getting this season are Time Detonation, Big Friend, and Quick Fire. So that's actually the three modifiers that were in the first season. Of course, a few things have changed with the meta, with brawler buffs and just new brawlers coming into the meta. So let's dive into it then. So Timed Detonation, if you're unaware what this modifier is, essentially the map will be fully opened up within a minute. It goes from the outside inwards, so in the center of the map, that's where the walls are going to remain for the longest. So this can definitely affect the meta in some scenarios, but most of the time I think you just got to play the patient game and just wait for the map to open up, and snipers are just going to be the most dominant. So the best brawlers for Time Detonation are on your screen right here. So there's a lot of snipers here. There's a few things that might change depending on the game mode. Again, I'll just go through that pretty briefly, but of course the best brawlers are going to be the likes of Angelo, Piper, Gene, Max. Gene and Max are a lot more prevalent now, especially since they're hyperchargers. They're going to be better, and those two brawlers counter the snipers as well, using Vengeful Spirits and of course just the hyperchargers in general. You've got 8-bit that can be pretty underrated, and you've got other brawlers as well. But let's talk about the other game modes where the meta shifts a little bit. So Hot Zone in particular is one where you don't want to just use free snipers. You want to be at least using kind of like a hybrid brawler to get some percentages on the zone. So that might be a brawler like Meg, for example, who can get onto the Hot Zone and also counter other long range brawlers. You've got the likes of Leon, maybe you've got the likes of Amber. You want these kind of brawlers that are at least decent into snipers that can get you some pressure. Again, in game modes like Heist, for example, you might just not want to go free sharpshooters. You might want to go like a good tank last pick that counters snipers. I don't know, like Buzz, Fang, etc. Or, you know, like again, that middle brawler like Amber, something like that. That's where the meta shifts. Of course, in Knockout Bounty, it's just going to be snipers galore. Again, in Gem Grab, it's just going to be snipers galore. Maybe in Brawl as well, you might get away with going on an aggressive pick on like Sneaky Fields or Center Stage and get an early goal. But I think as time goes on, it's still going to be for the sharpshooters. So yeah, Time Detonation, it's just sharpshooters galore. Jumping into the next modifier for the brand new ranked season, we have Big Friend. So again, another returning modifier, which I don't know if I'm excited to try this out. It's a little bit cheesy, but at the same time, I just want to have fun with ranked at the moment. I know it's unserious, and Big Friend is very unserious, but it shifts the meta a lot. Maybe you guys like that in ranked. So essentially with Big Friend, the highest HP brawler is matched throughout your composition. So for example, if your teammate goes a Frank, everybody will match Frank's HP within your team composition. So there's a few brawlers that get better. There's certain brawlers that are just insanely OP. So the best brawlers are on your screen right here. So I separated it in terms of tanks. So the best brawlers with the most HP might be a little bit more versatile in different maps and scenarios. And then you've got like the good tank counters, or just other brawlers that are really good with a lot of HP. So going through the tanks quickly, of course, Frank's going to be the best one. He's pretty much banned every single time. Although Frank doesn't really do too much, he just gives you so much HP with a sponge star power, and it's just essential in your team. And then there's other brawlers as well, you know, for example, if you're playing like Bounty, Knockout, maybe more open map, then 8-bit is insane, especially with boosted booster. You could probably pair him with like a sniper with like Piper, B, something like that, and you'll just rip through everything. Really OP combination in Big Friend. And then you've got other brawlers that really thrive into countering tanks. So you've got the likes of Charlie, for example. You've got Colette, who are just insane at countering tanks. You've got Shirley. You've got the likes of Angelo, who are just insane. The thing you've got to consider with Big Friend as well is that star powers actually scale with a brawler's HP. So you take, for example, Spike's Fertilized star power. He actually heals more when he has more HP. So if you pair Spike with like a Frank and use Fertilize, you're just never going to die. That's such a good combination. There's also a few other brawlers as well. For example, like Edgar, his healing will just get even more well when he has more HP. So if you want to abuse brawlers like that, then go ahead. But yeah, there's a lot of synergies you can go. I think Big Friend's not going to be like a popular modifier. It's only going to appear in, I think, 10% of your games, but the meta shifts a lot. Make sure to get that combination going. So the last modifier is Quickfire. So I believe this has been in pretty much every season but one. Quickfire, I like it. It's a pretty fun one. It's not really competitive, but it definitely is pretty fun just spamming auto aim relentlessly. I don't know about you, I just don't even have to think most time when I play this modifier. So again, you can see on your screen, these are the best brawlers to use. Again, it will depend on the map and situation. You know, certain brawlers will just be better because it's a more longer range map, you know, like Gene for example. But then you've also got Heist where there's a few damage dealers that, well, that would just be so much better. So again, I think the meta is pretty much the same everywhere outside of Heist. So for Heist, you probably want to go big damage dealers. So of course Leon's going to be insane there. Colt's going to be even better. You've got Ems maybe on Hot Potato, which is sneakily underrated. You've got Griff of course on a safe, Lola on a safe. Any brawler that just deletes the safe is going to be really strong. There's also quite a few underrated brawlers in Quickfire. I'll always say that Lola is one of the best brawlers for sure. If you use the Sealed with Kiss star power, you could just spam relentlessly and just heal up so much. You deal so much damage. Lola's so underrated, definitely go with it. Also, you've got a few like grassy maps. I'd say that tanks really suffer in Quickfire because you think of it right, like tanks, they really thrive when they waste a couple of pieces of ammo and then they can capitalize on that. You know, like mortars for example. I know it's not a tank, but that's how assassins work. So assassins gonna be really bad, but you have infinite ammo, so the tanks are just gonna get shredded every single time. But maybe it might work still on center stage, sneaky fields. Might be a few scenarios where like Daryl or Bull can be underrated, but for the majority of the part, the brawlers that are listed at the beginning are just going to be your better ones. They've always been good on Quickfire, so make sure to abuse it. Finally, moving on to the classic modifier. So this actual modifier you're going to get the majority of your games, especially once you start pushing higher. Once you get to Masters, I think you should get this modifier a lot more frequently, which is pretty nice. But I think the meta hasn't really shifted whatsoever. I literally did a video a few days ago just confirming the meta and the best 10 brawlers, so you can just rewind to that if you really want to. I'll briefly go through it and a few pointers in terms of ranked. So of course the two brawlers that are just way better than everyone else right now are Angela and Melody. So if you haven't got those maxed out yet, I think it's pretty safe for at least for a few weeks to max these two brawlers out. I still don't see them banned all of the time, and they're pretty much good in every single scenario. There's maybe, I'd say the grassy maps are the ones that counter Angela and Melody the most. Other than that, they'll just carry in every single scenario. In terms of other good picks as well, you've got the 3 new hypercharged brawlers, Sandy, Nita and Max. They're just super versatile. Max is a little bit harder to use than Sandy and Nita, for example. Sandy's just so brainless, so you can go Sandy everywhere, and for whatever reason, I'm still not seeing him banned all the time. His best scenarios are definitely going to be on Hot Zone, Brawl and Gem Grab on any grassy map. In terms of other underrated options for ranked, I think Amber again. I do constantly say that Amber goes between the A and the S tier. You can definitely be safe in maxing her out and trying her out. She's good everywhere outside of maybe Bounty and Knockout, but you can still use her in Knockout. She's usable in all of these different game modes, so you may as well max her out, and she's just never banned. And she's one of the best brawlers, so why wouldn't you want to play a brawler like Amber in ranked? There's a few other ones as well. There's Charlie, Jean, and there's just so many underrated brawlers. You've got the likes of Draco as well, who I'd say actually should be near the top of the meta right now. He's got a really cheesy gadget. I think he's going to be better in game modes like Hot Zone, for example, or I think probably Brawl might be. He might struggle a little bit because other tanks counter him. It'll be good in Gem Grab to get some good pressure. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.